All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Best Self Blueprint. So, as you all know, the mission of this podcast is to bring on people with the knowledge, insights, and experiences as to what it takes to truly move that dial towards becoming the best version of yourself. So, these next guests are proof that if you don't let anything stop you, success can be yours. They've acquired over 200 apartments in just a few short years and own 100% of the properties. On top of this impressive feat, they've also hit the bestseller list with two separate books, won awards such as 2019 Small Business of the Year, 2020 Canadian Business Award as leading experts in real estate investing, and 2021 Canadian Business Award as top real estate mentors. Their combined 20 plus years of experience and vast knowledge on building wealth through real estate is sure to leave you with some things to think about. So, to officially introduce investor Mel and Dave, how you doing?
Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Trevor. Thanks for having us.
Yes,
That's
we're
awesome.
fantastic. Thank you so much for having us.
It is my pleasure. I'm very excited to learn how you operate, kind of what you think as you're going through this, what your journey has been. But what I want to start with is I really like something you said. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 job, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't build additional streams of income. So what are a few of the your best first steps for people to take in taking on that journey or that building process?
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. And if it's, again, we can really talk about real estate investing if they are looking for that first kind of step towards it. And Mel talks about it most of the time in kind of the triangle, right? It's KRA, it's knowledge, resources, and action. So typically people most of the time have both of those, or sorry, 2 out of 3 of those. And it's just kind of realizing which one are they missing. And in our, when we started out, it was mostly the K, right? The knowledge that we didn't have. We had some of the resources, we had done our research, we were ready to take action, but it was the knowledge. So I would say doing kind of a self-assessment. Hey, if I want to jump into real estate, I want to do it big. I want to follow the footsteps of people that have done it before me. Kind of do that self-assessment. Which one is it? KRA, and then go from there. And if it's knowledge, well, gain that knowledge.
Yeah, and sometimes it's more than one piece that you're missing. Sometimes you don't have either. I want to do this. I have a strong why. I want to take action, but I don't have the knowledge or resources. So once you have all 3 of them, then that's when you can really grow and become limitless.
So one thing I'm curious about is you said you got to find your why. And I completely agree. I talk about that probably in every single episode. It's so important to me. What was your why? Like, what was your driving force behind this?
Yeah, and I guess there's kind of 2 different whys in our journey. So the reason why we started investing in real estate to start off with is because it was for the kids, right? We wanted to provide for their future. I have 2 girls and we have a little boy, and we wanted to create that generational wealth, for them and all that. So that's absolutely continues to be our why we're continuing to grow our portfolio and all of that. And then we mentor people as well across North America. And that why came after a while, and we didn't see this one coming. But we used to be very secretive. So for those listeners who may know us, we're well known to have purchased 12 properties in 12 months, no joint venture partners and no money down. But we did in 2017, but we were extremely secretive on how we did this. We didn't tell anyone. We had the scarcity mindset 100%. And then we were on our way to a real estate investing conference, and it was a life-changing day. We were passengers in the SUVs. We're actually in the back seat. And there was a careless driver who got charged, transport driver, who was swerving in between lane. He hit our vehicle, who hit us, or he hit a vehicle that hit us, and we literally started rolling across a 3-lane highway. We landed upside down on the roof, and it was a life-changing thing. When they say that, life slows down when you're about to die, it really does. Like, everything was slow motion. I remember thinking about my kids and what's going to happen to them, and they're losing me and they're losing Dave and all that kind of stuff. And it was a completely mind-shifting day for many, many reasons. And one of them, I remember us being in the hospital and thinking about, oh my gosh, like almost at some point then being excited that we're alive. Like, we actually survived this horrific crash. The cops couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe that we were actually alive.
We still had all our limbs.
Yeah,
we were walking, right? It was just ridiculous.
Yeah, we were so lucky to be alive. But then we thought to ourselves, okay, we have all these buildings and we have money. And now what? Like we almost died, and that would have been our legacy. And that was the day that we decided, wow, let's start off by, documenting our journey and our strategies. Number one, so I can pass it on to my kids. And number two, to help other people as well achieve financial freedom through real estate. So that was the reason behind our first book that we actually wrote that became the number one bestseller. And afterwards, we started mentoring afterwards as well.
Yeah, so that was the mentoring why, was because, hey, there's so much money out there. There's so many buildings. There's so much real estate. Why are we holding back? And ever since we've started sharing, it's come back tenfold. So that's the why for the mentorship.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. That is powerful. No, it wasn't a car accident, but I had a similar situation. It was all stupidity on my end. I was in a U.S. national park and got myself in a bit of a climbing situation that I shouldn't have got in. But I definitely know what you're talking about in terms of that. When you really get shown, like, okay, if your life were to end here, what's your legacy? Like, what did you actually contribute? And that was a big kick in my butt too, to be like, all right, it's time for me to really like amp it up and see what kind of impact I can have. So that's amazing. I'm very happy that you did make it out.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think that's awesome. Now, when you talk about, I'm going to transition a little bit, but I want to come back to this topic. I think what a lot of people will get a lot away from is your ideologies around building a team. So you talk about, once you were building your team, you built a team of people that can execute. And once you have them, you invest into that team. So what's your process in actually determining, like, okay, this person, everybody's going to talk themselves up in an interview. How do you determine the people who can really, truly execute? And then in what ways do you invest back into those people who are executing for you?
And I love that question. And I will be fully transparent. Building a team is not easy from my experience. We've had a lot of team members. We have amazing team members, and we've had some that we had to let them go because they were just not fit, whether it was culturally or with, what we wanted, or direction or ethics and all of that. So I think a couple of things on that is, I love connecting through people that I know. Many of our virtual assistants, for example, came from different references that we got because they understand our culture, they understand our work ethic, they know that we work really, really hard, but we have a lot of fun as well, and we're joking, and we want to help and be responsive to our clients. So not being able to, I guess it's part of that, is just being able to, throughout the interview process, you're right, it is a difficult task to kind of get through. But I think asking the right questions, and if you do happen, because it's going to happen at times, that you have someone as part of your team who may not be a good fit, of realizing that this is a business decision, and it absolutely, you may have to make the choice of letting them go, and being okay with that, because one of my mentors had said that, they said, you feel guilty letting somebody go, but if they're not working, if they're stealing your time from you and stealing, all that kind of stuff, why are you as an employer, as a business owner, feeling guilty of letting somebody go that's stealing time and all that kind of stuff? And as soon as I realized that, yeah, like I'm also committed to making sure my business continues to grow, so I can provide more jobs to people, and I can keep my team, who are hardworking and dedicated, employed as well. And Dave, feel free to add to that as well.
Very well said. Everyone is amazing in an interview, right? They talk themselves up. And just unfortunately, it's not always the reality when the rubber hits the pavement. And just know that the team that you have today might not be the team that's going to be there in 5 years or so. But when you do find good people, do not hesitate to invest in them. Buy them the knowledge, buy them the equipment that they need. But again, it is okay for relationships to change down the road.
Yeah, and work with them as well. Like I just finished hiring our fourth virtual assistant, for example, yesterday, and she's just coming on board today. But as part of doing that, I checked in with all my other ones, because they're part of my team. I want to make sure, is there any task that you may not like quite as much that you would want me to, get off your plate, because they're awesome. They show up, they're reliable, they over deliver. If I need them to work one night, they're going to be there without a doubt. So I want to make sure to also,
Yeah.
pay it forward
Keep them
and
happy,
keep
right?
them happy as
Offer
well.
them the first dibs on, hey, what's the stuff you want off your plate? Because we'll give it to the
Exactly.
new person, right? To
Yeah.
keep their role what they desire.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that, Mel.
Yeah, I love that you're so like you're all in about the idea of adding value. You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who are adding value. And once you have that like dream team or as close as you'll get to it, you want to make sure you're just pumping value into them. I think that's such a good synergy that you have going on there. Now,
Yeah.
do you take that into your personal life as well, where you think about with people who you're spending time with outside of work, like are they adding any value or are they just stealing my time? Do you bring that outside of the workplace?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, how do I say this? The friends you had in high school and in college are not, and maybe some are, but it's just that Mel and I, we have great friends, but sometimes it's letting go of other friends that maybe were, bringing bad habits, or they were not necessarily aligned with your goals. So again, don't be afraid to.
I think there's a shift in anything, whether as you
As you
grow,
grow, yeah.
And who you're enjoying spending time with. Me look different than 5 years ago, and although sometimes it's it's kind of sad and whatnot, but sometimes it's
Even our habits have changed, right?
our habits have changed.
We used to be gym rats, where 2 hours at the gym every single day, and now we work out, but it's maybe 30, 40 minutes, right? And then we crush business. So it's just you grow, and you change, right?
Yeah.
Same with the friends.
Well, and as an ex-fitness coach, you can get a lot done in the gym in 30 to 40 minutes too. So
Exactly.
that's one thing where, and we'll get back to real estate, but this is kind of my time to shine real quick.
Go ahead, because yes, Trevor.
One thing is if you really feel you're crunched on time, there's always ways to boost efficiency with the things you're doing. There's always ways to get more done in a shorter amount of time. And if you're someone who's spending 2.5 hours at the gym every day and complaining that you don't have enough time to do other things, it's probably time to cut that time down a little bit. If you really need a workout program to get your butt kicked in an hour or less, that's kind of my jam. As I'm sure Mel could help you out too. Even Dave could give you some tips. But yeah, so that's actually a good thing I want to talk about with you too, is with the business, with having kids, with wanting to make sure that you're still having fun and enjoying life. What is your process? And you talked about habits as well. Your habits have evolved. What does that look like for you two to determine where are you allocating your time, your energy? What is your process for making things run as efficiently as possible? If you could just run me through that.
Yeah, and I'm going to start off by saying this, and I'll kind of answer your questions. We were speaking, we were on the Real Bradley show, dropping bombs a couple of weeks ago, and we are speaking with them, and we we're having the conversation about how there's no self-made millionaires out there, and it's so true. At the end of the day, yes, we have all this real estate and all the but we didn't do it alone. So, and that's kind of part of it as well. People see that we have this large portfolio and all these buildings and all these great things happening, but we aren't doing this alone. And by leveraging other people's time as well as money, of course, we're able to do the things that we do enjoy. And I think as a business owner, it's remembering why you're in business in the first place. Because sometimes, I love what I do. I love business. Love it, love it, love it. But of course, my children are number one, and I need to stay healthy. Of course, like you mentioned, staying healthy is important and all that. So for us, we literally block off the times in our calendar. Like I'm never in the office anymore before, I literally came in, it was shortly 11 our time before I came in the office. And why? Because I blocked off that morning. So that way in the morning, I can be with the kids at home, get them on the school bus, usually I do a little bit of business, and then I work out and get ready and come to work 10, 11 o'clock. And I book that time off. And then same with after work, so we can be home once the kids get off the school bus, or sometimes we'll just pick them up and that kind of thing. It's also just really recognizing and blocking off the time for yourself. Yes. So that way the business doesn't take over your personal life.
And when you're doing something, do it. And that's a habit where before, like kind of like you said, use your example. Are you working out 2.5 hours? Do you really need 2.5 hours, or could you actually crush it in 40 minutes, 45 minutes? So when you're doing something, literally do it. Like people say, oh, I spend so much time with my kids. Well, you being on the computer on Amazon and them sitting in front of the TV isn't, just because you're in the same room, isn't necessarily spending time. So when we do something, we do it. That's a habit. So like this morning, right? We spend time with the kids before they go to school. Well, that's concentrated time, eating breakfast, making their lunches, conversing. Then as soon as they get on the bus, boom, it's workout time for us, 40 minutes to an hour. And that's at our home gym. So we're not wasting time. Boom. So our habit is, that's what we're doing. And then after that, when we're at work, it's not, hey, I'm shopping on Amazon, or I'm dabbling in that. It's, I'm working, so that when I get home and I want to spend time with the kids, I've got my hour or two of dedicated. We're doing puzzles, we're playing games, we're eating dinner together. So I think the habit overall is like being in the moment and doing that task so you can move on to the next one. And I don't know. That's kind of how we do it.
Yeah. Be in the room you're in. So where are you in? Are you in the room right now with your kids? And be with your kids. Leave your cell phone outside that area and be with the kids and play with them and give them their time. And then before you know it, they'll be like, all right, I'm good, mom and dad, and I'm off to do my own thing, right? And then, then when it's workout time, then, same thing, crush it, get it done, be healthy. You'll feel so much better. And then when it's business time, same thing as well. So I think we've gotten really good at being in the room. I mean, and as a couple, our couple time, we're together all day, every day. Except for our workouts, we kind of give each other a break. He goes in one room, I go in another. Now that we're doing our home workouts now, just because of the shutdown right now. But yeah, I guess just being in the room that you're in.
You are in my wheelhouse right now. So I'm certified as a mindfulness meditation coach. And
Nice.
Just yesterday, I made a post that told people, like, I don't care where you are. I don't care what you're doing. Just stop right now and just be in the moment that you're in. Like, don't worry about what you have to do tomorrow. Don't worry about the things that you maybe could have done better yesterday or last week. Like, just be in the moment, or exactly what you're saying, like, be in the room you're in. I think that's such an important lesson for people to take away. Yes, in terms of efficiency, I think that's awesome. But in terms of living life, if your mind is always somewhere other than your body, you're never going to truly get to experience how amazing and beautiful life can be. And I think that's awesome, where you're like, when we're in the gym, like, we're focused on our bodies, we're focused on that movement, we're focused on that intensity. When we're at work, we're focused on delivering value to our team, to, the people we're coaching. When we're at home, we're devoted to making the most of our time with our kids. And I think that is so huge, because there are so many people who, they get home and they've got that family time, but everyone looks like this.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone's just in a hypnotic state almost. So I hope people take away from that, because that is amazing.
No, and Trevor, I love that you said that as well, be in the room. And it's very contagious, right? Like people will, like, kind of going back on the last question you asked, how do you build a team? Well, our team knows when we get in the office at 10, we're here to work. We're here to crush. We're here to be efficient. So let's not sit down and have a 1 hour meeting. Let's sit down. Let's have the points all lined up, and then boom, let's initiate it. And then that can be a 20-minute meeting, and let's go back to it. So that energy, that thought process is very contagious. And it just makes everyone better in the room. So anyway, just want to touch on your last point with that as well.
No, and so now we're going. All right. So to piggyback on that, I think that's so important to go into wherever you're going into with intention. So you said, we're not going to go into a meeting and end up just spitballing random things for an hour. We're going to go in with, hey, what's our intention for this meeting? Great. Identify that, figure it out. Boom, done in 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes. I think it was, I might be wrong, but I'm going to say it was Oprah who actually really put a spotlight on that. Have an intention for every room you walk into, for every meeting you walk into, every conversation you have. And obviously, sometimes the intention, if you're just laying low with family or friends, the intention could be have fun. I think that's awesome. But
that's okay as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. But to go in with that mindset of, all right, we need to identify our intention so we can maximize the output and the, again, efficiency and effectiveness of this time that we're allocating to this thing, I think is huge. So, I'm really glad I talked to you guys about this because I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting to do that.
Well, that's cool, Trevor.
No,
And
I
we're
feel
on the
like we're on the
same,
same vibration. It's pretty
yeah,
neat.
like
We've never
we're
met in
big
person, but
in
this is great.
we're big in positive, and I don't want to sidetrack your questions here, but we're big in positive energy, law of attraction, the vibration, what vibe are you on? And that's probably why we're chatting today, because we're on the same frequency, right?
Yeah, it's no accident.
Yeah, so I love the term when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And to kind of attach that to what you said, where it's like once you're on a certain level of like vibrational frequencies, everyone at that level is there to teach each other something. So maybe I can teach you something. I can guarantee you can teach me something. You already
And
have.
vice versa, absolutely.
And so I think that's a really good point is if you do put in that work to keep leveling yourself up, there will be people to meet you there and inspire you, teach you, set an example for you. And it's still going to be on you to level yourself up, but just know that there are people who want to collaborate and help you out and be running buddies in whether it's a specific area or just in life in general. So I love that you think about that because that is a daily thought of mine.
No, absolutely. There's a saying that the lucky get luckier. I forget what that is, but and sorry, Trevor, as you're talking, I'm just thinking, and to bring it back to real estate, because that's obviously our passion, is things don't just happen by coincidence. We're not on a conversation. We're not having a conversation today out of coincidence, right? Again, we're on that same frequency. That's why we're chatting. And I'm not trying to get mumbo. People think it's mumbo jumbo, this stuff, but it exists whether you believe it or not. But just to bring it into a situation that's happening right now with us, with one of our commercial tenants, and I'm just going to say it's not a coincidence. And let me give you a quick story, and I'll stop sidetracking you.
No, you're good. This is the whole
all the
purpose.
time. Yes, I'm used to it, but
as we're talking on the same frequencies and being positive, and so we have a massive commercial unit. It's like, I don't know, 5,000 or 6,000 square feet. And commercial, everyone knows COVID right now, offices are being empty. And so let's take this, I'll go quick. We have a massive commercial area that was vacant. It's been, before we bought the building, vacant for 2 years. We took possession in October. So I don't know, it's like 3 months that we've had it. We have it listed. And now we just signed an $8,000 a month lease, $7,000 or $8,000 a month lease, which is huge, right? And there's like another 100 units that they could have picked. I'm looking at it as someone's like, oh yeah, you're so lucky. And I was thinking, no, I'm on a positive vibration. I'm putting that out there. I've got the top realtor looking at it. We have a good reputation. So I found a AAA tenant, and now they signed for 3 years. And everyone's looking around going, well, how did they do that? Well, again, we were on a positive frequency. We put it out there. We're thinking positive, and then we found someone else on the same frequency. Boom, things get rented. So again, it's not a fluke. Things don't just happen. And I just wanted to talk real estate to give kind of an example, but this is not something that was a fluke that all of a sudden we sign a big lease when there's 100 other commercial units, right? We're there and putting it out there and receiving that law of attraction.
And so I want to jump in, and I completely agree with what you're saying, but I think this is where people get lost in translation. Dave is not saying just think positive and your life's going to be, sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and all your favorite foods all the time and all that. He's saying if you are in that positive mental state and you work your tail off,
yes.
Amazing things will happen. And I just think a lot of people don't give the appreciation to the fact that it's the combination of the two, because if you're working your butt off, but you're in that scarcity mindset and you have a negative mental attitude and you're just in that dark negative space, even if things do objectively on the outside look like they're working out or are a success, you're going to feel no better off because you're bringing that negativity and negative mindset into that new place. So I love that example. I think that's perfect for what we were talking about.
I love it. And I mean, we have a few things that in the office, one of our favorite word for sure is action.
Yes.
But it's also, positive. No, don't come with me with problems, come with me with solutions. And yeah, there's going to be issues, but what's the solution? And don't tell me that it can't be fixed, because we may not.
Pet peeve.
That's our pet peeve. We don't accept.
Do
yes. Oh, this can't be done. Or no, we don't. We may not know how to do it yet. We may not be connected with the right person. chances are somebody in the world has done it before. So it's connecting with the right people and finding the solution. So we're very, very big on finding solutions, on not accepting this can't be done, and absolutely the right mindset in combination with the action, because you can't have one without the other.
Yeah, and to dive into, I'm totally fine with identifying problems for the sake of solving those problems. But exactly what you're talking about, if you're identifying a problem for a reason to talk about the fact that there's a problem, aka complaining or whining, I think people completely underestimate how capable we are of solving these problems. And obviously, yeah, some are going to take a lot more effort, time, resources than others. But for the most part, the things people are complaining about can be solved fairly quickly. And so, again, I think it comes into, like you said, just taking action. So, yes, identify problems, because not identifying problems is still not the best approach to like sweep them under the rug.
Yeah.
But once you identify them, you need to, and it almost, I don't know if you agree, it does take a little practice to get to the point of you hear a problem and you automatically think, okay, what's the solution? As opposed to thinking, oh, why me? Why did this happen?
Yeah.
This sucks. Just automatically have that reroute to, okay, what can we do?
Yeah, and Trevor, we Mel and I realized this a couple of years back. Every time we have a problem, or every time there's something where we're like, "Oh, how are we going to get past this?" It always ends up being an opportunity, just hidden a different way. And now, whenever there's staff turnover, whenever we have to do, like last week, we had to let go of a construction manager, and it's like, all right, how are we going to figure this out? Right, this is a big problem, and now we've become more efficient. A week later, we're more efficient. We're doing things better. We're saving money. We're being more productive. So every time we have a problem, not that I get excited, but I just know that we're going to get leaner, meaner, fighting
We
machine
almost
on the
start
other
asking,
end.
okay, why did this happen? And there's usually a reason behind it, good or bad.
And we usually get better.
I mean, even I remember, at first, especially we talked about the car crash a little bit earlier. And I remember at first, and I was very troubled by it, and I couldn't go on a highway, and I was having that fear of all of that afterwards. And I was almost a little angry, right? Why that happened to me? Why did the transport driver have to be there? And then, again, it was a choice to think, well, maybe this happened for a reason. Like afterwards, I was off with a severe concussion, but then afterwards I realized that this is it. I can't go back to work. Like I'm not happy. I want to do something I love every day, and I quit my job. Well, if that accident didn't happen, maybe that wouldn't have, like, that was a push that my life is precious. I need to do something I love every day. And reality is that car crash was the reality of to wake me up to that, and I quit my full-time job shortly after, and same with helping other people. And so sometimes when bad things happen in the moment, you're like, why did this happen? Why didn't I close on this deal? Why did this, whatever it is that's happening to you, maybe there's a reason behind it. And almost taking it like, how can I either learn from it or grow, and good and bad, right? Because at the end of the day, we've all had things that happen in our lives, but how are you going to choose to react to that?
Yes. Okay. I'm glad you brought this back, because you reminded me of what I wanted to say. So
we're on the same vibration again.
Exactly. This is awesome. Yeah. So one thing I want everyone to take away from this, obviously, I do not want anyone to intentionally go out and seek out a near-death experience.
Nope.
But I want every single person listening to think about, if your life ended today, are you happy with what you've done up until this point? If the answer is yes, keep doing what you're doing on a bigger scale and just keep trying to grow into, that best version of yourself. But if the answer is no in any area of your life, just like these two did, like, go back to the drawing board and think, like, what will make me happy? What will make me proud? What will allow me to leave that impact that fulfills me and satisfies me on a visceral level? And so I'm really happy you circled back to that, because I wanted to get back to that point of, I think people try to avoid thinking about death because of the discomfort associated with the topic, but it is one of the most powerful driving forces in terms of getting you off your couch and like going out and doing what you want and need to do.
I agree.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So I do want to be courteous of your time. So I'll start to kind of get into the final two that I mentioned earlier. But before I do that, you have opportunities for people to work with you in terms of coaching. People can learn from you just off of your social media. So where can people connect with you, or what do you have going on for them?
Yeah, we're very active on social media. We have a YouTube channel, TikTok, Instagram. We're all over Facebook. Our username is always Investor Mel and Dave. So if you like real estate, if you like business, entrepreneurship, money, that's what we talk about on all our channels. And if you're really looking to fast forward your growth through real estate investing as well, we do have a mentorship program as well. It's called the Action Family Mentoring Program. Of course, it's all about action. So you can reach out to us on any social media platform about that if anyone's interested.
Perfect. And that will all be in the show notes as well. So go check them out. Seriously, go check them out. They are inspiring. They have very practical tips. They've coached me without even knowing they were coaching me. So if they know they're coaching you, I can guarantee they'll add a crazy amount of value. But I want to get into the final two. So the final two is my little spin on like a finale for the episode. The first question is, and you can answer individually, what for you is the next step in becoming your best self?
Good question.
Yeah. And I guess for me, I can kind of talk about it because I'm doing it right now. So for myself, despite that I've been, in this field for years and years, I'm continuing to invest in myself. So I just enrolled in a program recently. So I'm continuing to kind of invest in my own learning growth, because I know that if I can learn from somebody, again, who is doing it even better than I am, even if I can pick up a couple little nuggets from them, I'll be able to continue to expedite my growth. So just working continuously on my own learning. I know I don't know it all, and I'm a big believer in continuous learning.
Yeah, and to add on to Mel's, because I'm kind of more on the real estate acquisition side. Mel and I have a portfolio in Canada here, and this year I really want to dive into the American market. Looking in Florida, I want to buy 50 units there. So I have a very good grasp on it, but again, it's just learning. I don't know everything, and I want to keep learning and challenge myself. I want to buy a mobile home park. That's something I don't have yet. So just going to challenge myself, and why not?
Get a little uncomfortable, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're coming down to Florida, I'll meet you there.
That'd be awesome.
Florida in January or February now is much better than Wisconsin in February. So that would be awesome. But yeah, I really like what both of you said. Mel, I want to tap more into what you said of, not only are you trying to like develop yourself, you're trying to develop your skills that are directly applicable to what you're doing right now. And that's something I think a lot of people could take away as well, is there's a vast difference between school and education in general. And just because you graduate and get that piece of paper that says you're good at what you do doesn't mean you should stop learning more about what you do. And so I think that's something that everyone can take away. So
Agreed.
Absolutely.
all right. And then final question, which is less of a question. It's more for an opportunity for you to either collectively or individually to challenge the audience. So if you could give the listeners one task, one thing they can do that when done will better their life in some way or teach them something about themselves, what is one challenge you would throw down for the people listening?
Yes, I'll go first so you don't steal my idea.
Wonder if we're gonna have the same one.
We'll see. I would say get uncomfortable, because typically the number one thing that stops you is fear. And when you get uncomfortable, that means you're going to push through that fear. Fear is the number one reason people never achieve their successes that they truly, really want. But in order to get that success, you got to get uncomfortable. You got to do something different. So I would challenge, get uncomfortable, get a little bit sweaty, do something that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. Because once you do, you'll never, most people never regret taking that action or doing something or taking that experience. So do so wisely, of course, but get uncomfortable.
Cool.
Was it the same thing?
No.
All right. There you go. Okay.
I'm just thinking, because we talked about it so much today, if you're listening to this, after you're done listening to this, go listen or read the Law of Attraction, the book, The Secret, because we talked about, if you don't quite understand Law of Attraction, and if you don't believe in it, you don't have to believe in it. You just have to know that it happens, just like gravity, right? You don't have to understand it, but it's there. So I would say go listen to the audiobook right after this. The Secret, it's on Netflix. You can listen on YouTube, I think, and just start opening your mind to the law of attraction. Like thoughts become reality, and be positive, and you're going to create an awesome life. You got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, we find that sometimes even when like things aren't going well and
Yeah,
we're
we
like,
need
oh,
a
what's
tune-up.
going on? We need a little tune up. We'll just play it in the background. Just even at home, or if we're driving home, we'll listen to it, or if we're driving somewhere, and just that little, it's like the little reminders, and
Yeah.
just it gets us realigned, and then we're ready to go again.
All right. That is such a good challenge from each of you. So, I mean, seeking discomfort is something I do literally on my habits tracker. One of them says seek discomfort. So, doing something every day that gets me out of my comfort zone, whether it's jumping in a frozen lake or going up to someone who looks super intimidating and just giving them a high five or something like that. Something that gets you kind of like out of that comfort zone, because you get to a point where getting uncomfortable is fun and exciting as opposed to scary and, fear inducing. So I love that one. And then actually, The Secret is on my book list for this year. So my goal is 52
Nice.
books in 52 weeks this year.
Nice.
And The Secret is in the teens somewhere. I don't know where, but so it's coming up soon. But
It's
those
awesome, Trevor.
are both
You're gonna
awesome.
love it. Yeah, you're
It's
gonna love
awesome.
it.
Well, I want to thank you both for taking the time, hanging out with me. This was really, really fun. I am so happy I was able to meet both of you, hear your story, hear your insights. And I want to thank you for going from that scarcity mindset to the mindset of abundance and impact and contribution and love. I think that is something every single person on this planet can take away from, is understanding that life is finite and understanding that there is a lot you can do while you're here to better yourself, better the lives of the people around you, and better, the world. So I want to
Agreed.
thank you both for that. And thank you both for just being the people you are. This has been amazing.
Well, thank you
Awesome.
so
Right
much.
back at you, Trevor.
Yes, you have amazing energy, and you can just tell that you're a very genuine person. So
Yeah.
I'm super happy.
And now that we met, who knows
you.
what's next, right? Again, I'm
Yeah.
sure it's not the last time we chat.
I sure hope so. My wheels are turning now, but yeah. So
Amazing.
thank you. And thank you to everybody who listens. This is one of my favorite parts of my day, is just getting to sit down with amazing people and talk about how to better your life in any or all ways. And I appreciate everyone who's on this journey with me. Again, I never claim to, actually have a full blueprint of how to be the best version of who you are, but I am an avid student and I respect anybody who tunes in and goes through this journey with me. So if you have questions, you can comment. If you have comments, you can obviously comment, or you can reach out to us individually. And if you know someone who this talk will help, go ahead and share it with them. So other than that, thank you everybody for listening, and we will talk to you next time.